Welcome back, fellow gamers, to Indie Corner, the place where we're gonna go over all of the new games available on the eShop. And because I took a vacation, of course these things spread. It's the problem when you're the warden of the eShop. And that's the new title I've given myself because it sounds way cooler than the guy in the Indie Corner, or that Indie Corner guy, whatever you call me. Because who else looks after this eShop more than I do? Now the bad thing is, when you look away from it for a second, it spreads like a rash on your ass. It's just all sorts of shitty games everywhere. So this week we're gonna have to crunch down and do some double time to get through all these games. You ready? Kagebushin no Jitsu! Alright, we're gonna do it a little different this week. We're gonna start with the cheapest games and work our way up to the most expensive. I can't hate on this little gem, as it's a historic look at some of the first mobile games ever made. And when I say mobile, I mean a game you hold in your hands, not necessarily something on a mobile phone. Now there's 149 games to look at with a little info slug for each one. Good little package. Next we have a pinball game, but it's about titans. You know those big colossal creatures from Greek mythology that predated the gods but somehow messed up and lost all their power to the gods? Man, living in ancient Greek must have been a wild time. In a twisted take on the sheep and the wolf, you now play as the wolf who's been sent to Wolf Hell, where you must escape from the demonic sheep-infested hell. Man, these game concepts are crazy. Here's a simple 2D action shooter where you shoot, collect gold, and keep upgrading to shoot bigger and harder things, like your mom. Let's keep this fight going with Animal Fight Club. It's not as bad as it sounds though. You don't just make animals fight each other. You first modify them into things like dog sharks or cobra geese, and then you make them fight. Here's a fun little game about circuits that's sure to give any PC builder enthusiast a bit of anxiety. All you have to do is turn on the fan without blowing shit up. Good luck. This shit's coming in like a wrecking ball. It's like if Miley Cyrus had an adventure game. Oh god, forget I suggested that. It's actually a puzzle game about little robot dudes trying to escape. It's quite cute. You know, we've reached the peak of gaming when we're now making D-makes. Games that try to look old. The thing is though, this isn't a D-make of anything. It's just a plain old retro looking game. You need to make a cool game first before you can D-make it. Come on now, let's do this right. You know, I'm starting to hate these food games because they make me crave the most random things when I'm playing them at 2 a.m. Yes, bring on that sashimi burger. I need it like right now. This game is exactly as it sounds. It's a business sim about running a delicious burger joint and sure to cause mild levels of stress, because, you know, these games always do. Another game about escaping your world. Wow, what's with the escape theme this week? Now on the bright side, this is a 2D precision platformer, so maybe I'd like it. Who knows? Whoever said point and click games are dead clearly never watched this show. We get one of these like every week. This week we get some dark grisly detective type game and play as the callous detective Ted E. Bear. Oh man, I'd totally use that as an alias anytime. Notice how birds like ducks and geeses... Is it geese? No, the plural of a goose is a geese, not geeses. You know, it's weird because the plural of goose is geese, but the plural of moose isn't meese. Anyways, what's up with these games about ducks and geese becoming more popular in gaming culture? What's up with that? In this game, you play as a fox and try to avoid danger while hunting ducks, of course. I guess we have Duck Hunt to blame for the whole duck hate in this industry, which is weird actually when you think about it. If anything, Duck Hunt should have caused us to hate dogs. It's Doom! If you haven't played this iconic first-person shooter, you have little reason not to now. Seriously, it's a true relic of the past that should be experienced simply to appreciate how far we've come. Also, try the sequel, it's just way better. Oh man, looking at this is bringing up so many memories. I need to play me some old Doom and then try the newer ones. It isn't a party unless there's a half-fat naked-ass man in the room. This game was clearly made with someone with a booty fetish, and this looks so disrespectful to every element they incorporate. Anyways, it's a game about striking the right pose to fit through the hole. Oh my. Oh, another non-video game. Gaming collection in video game form. Try and say that 5 times fast. Then show that off to someone you love. They'll be so impressed with you, trust me. Tell them Indie Corner Guy sent you. Anyway, this might be a good game for anyone looking to study the basic elements of a game. Or I don't know, I guess if you want to play some tic-tac-toe, this is a good pickup too. Man, this $5 price range is heavy on the game count. Next up, we got some Hoggies, which is some kind of 2D puzzle platforming game with pink slime. Oh, a samurai game. Well, this looks a little too realistic and unsatisfying. It's a one-hit KO kind of fighting game. Well, this is an adorable Game Boy inspired military game. It looks like you play as mini war machines and kill a bunch of enemies. Game has 15 levels to play through too. Here's a simple, maybe too simple, looking puzzle game that's all about reaching for the sky. So yeah, you just place blocks and move your peg up, and then if you're the highest peg, you win. These games, man. Here's another little puzzle game about rolling some balls into a hole. Simple concept, sure, but very difficult in execution. A nice little Sudoku game geared specifically for the summer. It's Sudoku, so you either like it or you don't. No game should be using the name Beatrice in their title. With thousands of names out there, why would anyone settle on Beatrice? And of course, this is another puzzle game with a more logical flavor applied to it. A perfect simulator game for anyone who loves cars and has never touched a wrench. I figure if you're a car enthusiast, you probably would rather be in the garage than playing this game. But that's just my guess, what do I know? Is this the alpha build of Katamari Damacy? It's basically the core mechanic, sort of. What's worse with this title is they weren't ashamed to use their mobile trailer to promote it in the eShop. Like, let's put a bit of effort here, guys. Another 2D puzzle platformer for those players that just can't get enough of these. This one has the special mechanic of nothing really. You jump, you shoot, you carry stuff. Even though the pelican is in the game title, it seems to do nothing special for the gameplay. More arcade archive games to collect. Wow, this is a sequel to the hit game Ikari Warriors. It's kind of cool to see the origins of some NES games, honestly. Here's another Konami classic where you race cars through a bunch of hazards. Surprisingly, you don't actually fight in this game called Road Fighter. Man, this looks like it should have been another arcade archive, but alas, it's a new game sequel based on a 1985 game that apparently is credited with being the first game to feature a female protagonist. Someone's gonna need to fact check that one. Another 2D puzzle platformer. That's all on one screen. So like if scrolling screens gives you anxiety, this might be a better game than the other 10 puzzle platformers we've passed so far. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. It's a 2D action platformer, but with a ninja and some pretty cool ninja music. There's also depth of field mechanics a la Yoshi's Crafted World, but it seems to lack some polish. You'd think as we increase the price on these games, the quality would improve a bit, but I find these harder sells than the lower price games. This is some kind of strategy warfare game that I feel I would have seen people playing on campus in the early 2000s. A 2D experience platformer that's all about overcoming your fears and phobia. I'm not sure if this was the right genre to tackle such a topic, maybe VR or any 3D kind of game would have been better. Although Hollow Knight and Inside managed to freak me out with 2D elements, so who knows. Oh, these game puns. I'm tempted to make a list of top 10 game puns. Ever wanted to do Kung Fu as a hamster? Well, now you can. Honestly, this game doesn't look all that bad. Next up, we got some Sweet Witches. That surely counts as another pun game title, right? Gameplay here looks very traditional in the sense of collect good things, avoid bad things. But hey, at least there's some waifu witches. Another 2D puzzle platformer. I think this might be the easiest genre to develop for, so this one is themed around physics or some junk. Honestly, I've yet to play this game because when it came out, it was known as super freaky and scary. It's probably not so bad now, but it's def no Doom 1 or 2. Here's a twist, a 3D puzzle adventure game. The bulk of the puzzles are based on mechanical puzzles during the Renaissance. Honestly, this could be pretty good. And now we have an Olympic game with characters that don't necessarily look like Olympians or athletes for that matter. But who cares? Video games, right? There's also another half-naked man in here, so we know it's a party already. It must be so easy to just re-release these puzzle games like P-Cross, but just keep painting on a new franchise or fandom over it. Our JRPG of the week. Looks like a bit more effort went into this one with a diverse set of 3D rendered models. This story revolves around finding a legendary sword for some reason. Doesn't sound too deep if you ask me. Wow, I remember playing the first game on the Wii U. I did not expect anyone wanted to see a sequel to this game, yet here we are. Embark on a 3D platforming adventure with a wooden stump. Who killed Cock Robin? More importantly though, who named someone Cock? I read the Eshop description and watched the trailers, and I honestly can't even tell you what this game is about or how it plays. I think it's like a dating simulator, but more about solving mysteries. Isn't this a video game adaptation of that board game Pandemic? It looks like it's a single-player strategy game that is similar in nature. Oh, hang on. You actually play as some mad scientist trying to wipe out humanity and have to overcome humanity's biodefense efforts. Wow, that's dark. Oh boy, I mean, they say right on the cover it's inspired by Power Rangers, but damn, it looks more like a game of how close can you get to the copyright line without being sued. Now this is a pretty cleverly disguised zombie game. I have to give it credit for its originality. You still kill zombies, but in a crazy souped up killer taxi or a tank or whatever vehicle you want. This is how you make a zombie game in 2019. It looks like all the indie corner regulars are in the $10 to $20 midpoint. Here's our first shoot 'em up of the episode, and it's got some sexy 3D graphics, which helps it stand out just a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna start adding food games to the list of indie corner regulars. This one, though, is evil, as it's really tough logic puzzle game about building expensive automated kitchens to replace humans. Huh, a rhythm platformer, somehow. Well, that's different. Its story is about a bird looking to find its true origins. I bet you $10 it's an egg. Lo and behold, people of the internet, another 2D puzzle platformer, but with traps. So many traps. I'm thinking if I'd make a 2D puzzle platforming game, I'd just call it Not Another 2D Puzzle Platformer. And then the player has to figure out ways to stop 2D puzzle platforming games from being made through a 2D puzzle platforming game. Oh, that's Inception. Now this looks like a game that knows how to alienate a lot of Americans, at least the religious ones. It seems to take themes of Christianity and looks at how it can turn into a cult. I can't imagine how anyone would find these themes so interesting to build a whole game around it. Yeah, here we are. Hey, the actual Pandemic game is here too this week. Well, if you're not about destroying the world through plague, maybe you'll want to buy this game where you can save it instead. Oh man, I saw the name Solo in the title and was really hoping for a Han Solo game where you take an adventure to lovely islands. Instead, it's a 3D puzzle platformer. I can't even make a joke about puzzle games anymore because they're just my reality now. I haven't heard of this one, but it's apparently based off a board game, so surely the gaming mechanics behind it are solid. It looks like one of those place a peon in a limited spot to harvest resources to gain points kind of game. Honestly, not a bad concept. This game looks very, very familiar, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Anyways, it's a 2D open world game where you seem to kill and harvest a bunch of shit, including literal shit. Hey, it's New Trine! Oh no, I'm just realizing now that this whole series is also a 2D puzzle adventure game. Well, at least it used to be. Now it seems to have more 3D elements to it. Switch between 3 characters and beat the levels. Oh yeah, we have the Way Forward Waifus collection this week. Damn, they should totally make a game collection with that name. I think that would sell. Anyways, here's a nice package to get all of the Mighty Switch Force games, which... ah, shit. It also happens to be a 2D puzzle platforming game. Let's just call this show 2D Puzzle Platforming Corner, okay? Surely you've played some Battleship at one point in your life. It's another board game that makes its way to the Switch. I wonder how much better this game gets with some added visual flair. Alright, so this game is like a forced co-op first-person shooter, which is the kind of game you probably wish for when you and your friend are constantly playing together. But for everyone else, it's just not that inviting of a concept. Alright, we're getting into the higher price point kind of games here, and it's either a whoa, I need it kind of feeling, or a whoa, you want how much for that game kind of feeling. For some reason, any kind of sport games always tries to sell for a premium, and I don't get it. I feel like it's been a while since the last time we saw a fighting game on the Switch. But here's another one that's apparently designed more so for tournament play. Wouldn't mind watching some pros playing this game. I guess this game is a big deal for the shoot 'em up fans. As an outsider, it kind of looks like any other shoot 'em up game, so it's kind of a hard sell for me. Here's a cool futuristic looking tactics game that includes a character called Big Con the Moose. Man, I wish I had a friend I could call Big Con the Moose. That's so badass. Woof, these are some premium waifus right here. A game filled with dungeons, but also with some town sim elements to it. At its core, it seems to be a roguelike RPG, which is a big nope from me. Speaking of premium waifus, Here's a Kill la Kill game, an action fighting game that revolves around an anime series where girls have these power suits that get stronger the more skin they reveal. Or it's something like that. There's plenty of fan service in this series. That's mainly what I know. But to be fair, it also has a pretty good storyline too. So yeah, that's why we watch it. It's for the storyline. Lastly, we have this Harry Potter clone where you play as a teacher of one of 3 houses. There's also some waifus in there and some romancing business you can grind towards. Apparently there's a pretty in-depth tactics component to the game too. Anyways. And that's it for this week. I hope you learned something on Indie Corner this time, and if not, well, I've failed as a host of game trailers. See you next week. Until then, keep it classy.